Chapter 703, The Reaction of the Void Sword. This chapter is updated by Novels.pl. After killing Chi Hong's avatar, Zhang Yuochen immediately dashed into the medieval relic behind him. Now, he had no alternative but to escape from Chi Hong, who was chasing him down to kill him. If he burst in the medieval relic, he would probably survive all the perils inside. However, if he confronted Chi Hong, he would certainly die. When he entered further into the medieval relic, Zhang Yuochen discovered that the place was quite strange. There was no spiritual chi fluctuation, but there was an invisible power covering him. As a result, his hearing and sight sensitivity declined quickly. His body gradually became numb. Apparently, Blackie was quite nervous, as he picked up his tail and ears. What happened? Suddenly, Zhang Yuochen slowed down, took out the void sword from the spatial ring, and pinched it in his hands. Glang! Unexpectedly, the void sword began to slightly vibrate, and a light was shining on the surface of the blade. Zhang Yuochen felt that something seemed to be waking up inside the void sword. Every time the sword radiance flickered, it seemed like the single beat of a heart. Is the sword spirit of the void sword going to awaken? Zhang Yuochen was astonished. Why does it come to life at this time? The void sword was not only the Thousand Bone Empress's saber, but also a supreme holy weapon. If its sword spirit was fully awakened, the sword power would also recover. How powerful supreme holy weapons are! Blackie was more excited than Zhang Yuochen with all his hair bristling up. It's strange. The void sword did not have any reaction anywhere else. Why does it send out a sword radiance in the medieval relic? Is its master here? The master of the void sword, the Thousand Bone Empress? Zhang Yuochen shook his head. Even a supreme great saint can only live 3,000 years. The Thousand Bone Empress was a superior in the Middle Ancient times. Even if her cultivation was profound, she can't be alive today. In Kunlun's field, if a person practiced to the great saint realm, he or she could get the title of emperor or empress. 800 years ago, the 9 emperors and the 3 empresses all reached the great saint realm. After Empress Kaiyao ascended the throne, even if an unparalleled talent practiced to the great saint realm, he or she could not get the title of emperor or empress. In the entire Kunlun's field, there could only be one empress. Blackie was so excited that he forgot that someone was chasing after them. The great saints can't live up until now, but the Thousand Bone Empress can because she killed the gods before. Can Empress Kaiyao, who is the top person of Kunlun's field, kill the gods? If the Thousand Bone Empress is still alive, how could she have lost her saber? Zhang Yuochen shook his head and walked more cautiously. Blackie sighed and was speechless. Zhang Yuochen said, Half-Saint Yuanlong said that he found the void sword in a medieval relic. Perhaps the medieval relic he mentioned is here. Blackie's eyes lit up and he immediately looked around. If the void sword was found here, then the Thousand Bone Empress must have been here. Perhaps she hasn't left yet. Blackie turned into a black shadow and quickly rushed forward. Why is this cat so excited upon hearing the name Thousand Bone Empress? Zhang Yuochen discovered that something Blackie did was abnormal. For example, he was quite close to Han Xiu, who also had the Thousand Bones physical quality, and always followed her advice. Furthermore, he had personally taken her to complete the sacrificial ceremony and helped her get the scripture of the dead gods, which was an exercise practiced by the Thousand Bone Empress. Blackie was sealed by Saint Monk Zumi 100,000 years ago. He may have lived at the same time as the Thousand Bone Empress. Perhaps he is really related to the Thousand Bone Empress. Zhang Yuochen gently stroked his chin, appearing to be in deep thought. Swoosh! Suddenly, a sharp sound of the wind came from behind him. Zhang Yuochen thought that Chi Hong had caught up to him, so he immediately rushed forward without thinking. But after 300 meters, he slowed down. When he turned around, he discovered nothing. Isn't it Chi Hong? If it was Chi Hong, he might have caught up to me. But now that it's not Chi Hong, there might be some other living creatures in this medieval relic. Feeling a sudden chill on his back, he took a deep breath and released all his spiritual power. He chased after Blackie and caught his tail. He murmured, "Don't run around everywhere. I found some unknown creatures in this relic. If we encounter them, it will be far more dangerous." Blackie was also aware of that and he asked, "What can we do?" Zhang Yuochen carefully observed their surroundings and saw a stone forest directly up ahead. He squinted his eyes as he said, we'd better hide in that stone forest. In the distance, there was indeed a boundless stone forest. As he got closer, Zhang Yuochen saw clearly that it was a grave rather than a stone forest. High tombstones were built on the ground. Those tombstones were more than 30 meters high. Since they had been there for so long, they were severely weathered and the characters on the tombstones had blurred. There was a tombstone tainted with blood and there were 3 human skeletons under it. Those skeletons were crystal clear and emitted a colored glaze glow. They seemed to be carved out of colored glaze gems. Obviously, when those 3 people were alive, they had practiced to the glazed treasured body. They had reached the 9th change in the fish-dragon realm, or possibly even the half-saint realm. How could they have died here? Zhang Yuochen checked the 3 skeletons on the ground but he did not find any scars. Blackie licked his lips and said, "This place is gloomy. Perhaps it's a land of death. We should leave as soon as possible. The more dangerous the place is, the more Qi-Hong fears it." Zhang Yuochen looked at the tomb forest as he said, "You're good at arrays. Why don't you arrange an array?" "Right. Before Qi-Hong catches up to us, I need to set up an array. Then, I can deal with him using one," Blackie said with a smile. Zhang Yuochen took out 3 holy stones and many spiritual crystals. Then he put them into a spatial ring, which he gave to Blackie. Blackie took the spatial ring, rubbed his paws, and rushed into the tomb forest. After going more than 600 meters into the tomb forest, he stopped and prepared to set up an array to deal with the half-saint's 6th level array. Zhang Yuochen began to study the void sword. When he arrived at the tomb forest, the void sword flashed more frequently. It must be sensing something, so it reacts like this. Is the Thousand-Bone Empress buried in a tomb here? Zhang Yuochen furrowed his eyebrows and looked at the surrounding tombs. Unimaginably, a legendary big shot was buried nearby. If the news of the Thousand-Bone Empress's tomb were to be spread out, it would create an incredible commotion. All of a sudden, he noticed danger and immediately turned around. 2 tombstones weighing hundreds of thousands of kilometers flew from the ground behind him and rapidly hit him. Bang! He snatched up the void sword and brandished it in front of him. The sword chi that erupted out of it disintegrated the 2 tombs. Qi-Hong walked out step by step and snorted as he said, "You reacted so quickly, but still it's useless. Even though you escaped into this medieval relic, you still can do nothing except die. Now, you only need to answer my question and I'll make sure that you die quickly." Zhang Yuochen held the void sword and retreated. He said with a smile, "Aren't you skillful at soul-searching occult? Why do you bother yourself to waste any more words? Wouldn't it be easier to seize me and search through my memory?" Qi-Hong just answered him with grim laughter. "I guess that you don't understand soul-searching occult at all," Zhang Yuochen said calmly. "Since you're provoking me, I'll fulfill your wish." With an evil look in his eyes, Qi-Hong pinched his 5 fingers into a claw. He leaned forward and immediately condensed them into an evil claw that was more than 10 meters long, hoping to capture Zhang Yuochen. When he was condensing the sword chi and preparing for a desperate fight, a Tao character flew from the distance. The character Tao was as large as a millstone and had strong holy chi. Under its influence, the evil claw that was displayed by Qi-Hong vanished into smoke. The Tao spun in the air and sent forth a strong holy aura at Qi-Hong. Seeing the character, Qi-Hong abruptly changed his expression and immediately displayed the cloud-tearing palm strike, a ghost-level martial technique. He condensed all his holy chi and struck forward with his palms. Centered on his palms, a round palm power wave formed. As a result, the surrounding dozens of tombstones were flung out. The character Tao was so powerful that the handprint was broken through in an instant and it pressed down on Qi-Hong's body. PFFT, Qi-Hong spat out a mouthful of blood and half knelt on the ground. What an incredible martial technique. With just a character, a half-saint has been injured. Zhang Yuochen was astonished and looked into the distance. A holy white light broke through the black cloud in the medieval relic. It flew from the distance and fell on the top of a tombstone, forming a gentle, graceful figure. Just about every inch of Saint Lady's skin emitted holy white light. She wore a spotless white robe and was dressed as a man. Even so, it was hard to cover up her exceedingly beautiful appearance. Every curve of her body was quite perfect. She had a narrow waist and straight, slimmer legs. Swoosh. When she unfolded her fan, The character Tao flew up again. It turned into a black character as small as the head of a fly and fell on the fan. Chi Hong climbed up from the ground and covered his bleeding chest. He pretended to be confused as he said, "Your Excellency, Lin Yue is suspicious. He is a spy that has been sent by other forces to the Yin and Yang sect. I'll kill him to clean house." "Why are you holding me back?" Saint Lady licked her lips and blinked her eyelashes gently. "Half Saint Chi Hong, I followed you here from the heaven and earth altar of ancient gods mountain along with your aura. Don't tell me that you haven't broken into the heaven and earth altar." Chi Hong looked somber because he did not expect that Saint Lady's spiritual power was so powerful. When he left ancient gods mountain, he had deliberately erased his aura. However, she still had detected a trace. "What should I do now?" Saint Lady was a spiritual power saint. Even if his cultivation were to be enhanced 10 times over, he could not ward off even one of her fingers. "Can I do nothing but await my doom?" Chi Hong was certainly not reconciled. Suddenly, he thought of the death chi that he had forced out of his body. An idea came into his mind. He looked at Saint Lady once again and a vicious laugh appeared on his lips.